Dreamscape presents The Truth About Baked Beans, An Edible History of New England by Meg Muckenhoupt, narrated by Carolyn Hewitt. Introduction. What is New England food? A fish stick is not fish, nor is it a stick. It is a fungus. Matt Groening. This book began with a simple question. When did Bostonians start making Boston baked beans? New England isn't known for sweet main dishes like honey-glazed ham, or sweet potatoes with marshmallows or Jell-O-based salads. Yet one of the region's iconic foods marries pork and beans with puddles of molasses. Why? As I began researching Boston baked beans' beginnings, I rapidly realized that most of the origin stories about sweet bean recipes were clearly false. Many authors stated that the Pilgrims had learned a recipe for beans with maple syrup and bear fat from Indian cooks, and that colonial chefs had simply swapped out the combo for salt pork and molasses. When I checked baked bean recipes in cookbooks, farmers' journals, and newspapers published before the Civil War, though, molasses was rarely mentioned. And in the few cases when it did appear, the quantities were minuscule by 21st century standards, on the order of 1 tablespoon of molasses to a quart of dry beans. What I discovered is that the recipe for Boston baked beans wasn't an ancient gift from forgotten Native Americans, but the result of a series of conscious efforts in the late 19th century to create New England foods that happened to coincide with a drop in sugar prices that supersized New England's sweet tooth. Those New England foods were cherry-picked from fanciful just-so stories about what English colonists cooked prior to the American Revolution, not from the foods actually cooked by New England's residents, many of whom were immigrants from Ireland, Quebec, Italy, Portugal, Poland, and a dozen other countries. Those discoveries compelled me to write this book. This book explores New England's culinary myths and reality through some of New England's most famous foods: baked beans, brown bread, clams, cod and lobsters, northern cornbread, Vermont cheese, apples, cranberries, maple syrup, pies, and New England boiled dinner, also known as Yankee pot roast. Each of these foods is frequently featured in popular articles about the history of New England food, accompanied by false.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?